Hello, I'm Yushin. Today we're going to check out a big-ass river with its crazy currents. Imagine a bamboo pole as skinny as your pinky finger. Now picture someone standing on it and doing splits like gravity is just like, nah, forget about it. This is Duju Piao, single bamboo drifting. It's been around for over 2,000 years in Guizhou, where people used to carry logs across the river. Later, it turned into a thing of beauty and skill. But let me tell you about a young man who stumbled upon this ancient art last June. He was at a little town called Yangtze watching a master perform. The master was giving it his all, balancing, gliding, making it look effortless, but there were barely any spectators. And right then, this guy got a wild idea. He wanted to cross the entire Yangtze River on a single bamboo pole. He walked up to the master and said, "We should bring that old legend of Damo crossing the river on a reed to life. It would go viral." The master just stared at him like he'd lost his mind. He figured our guy was just another influencer looking for a cool shot, not someone serious about learning. But our guy was stubborn, thick-skinned, as they say. He kept begging until the master finally gave in with one condition. "If you fall into the Yangtze and get swept away, don't blame me." Now, learning this thing is brutal. You think it's hard to balance on a log on land? Try it on water, the bamboo rolls and slides under your feet. Your toes have to grip like claws, every muscle screaming. One tiny shift and you're underwater. And that bamboo is covered with splinters and sharp edges, every fall leaves a bloody gash. Our guy, though, he was head heavy and had terrible balance, a disaster waiting to happen. But he kept at it, falling over and over until his whole body was black and blue. The master told him, "It's like learning to ride a bike, you have to crash 1,000 times before you get it," and crash he did. But slowly, after countless spills, he could finally stand on that pole without immediately sinking. Just as he was getting somewhere, the master's show got cancelled, not enough audience. So the master packed up and moved to Guizhou looking for another gig. But our guy wasn't letting go. He followed him all the way from Jiangsu to Guizhou. The master was both annoyed and impressed. "You again?" But deep down, he respected the dedication. Our guy told him, "If I can cross the Yangtze successfully, everyone will remember Duju Piao. Then crowds will come, and you won't have to wander from place to place anymore." So the master agreed to train him for real. Phase 2 was all about turns, jumps, running on the bamboo, even handstands. And in the weeks that followed, our guy's progress was insane. From flopping into the water every 5 seconds, he started doing smooth spins and fancy moves, like a real-life martial artist. It felt like a spiritual journey, not just physical training. This June, they met again at Yahoo for the ultimate challenge, a special training camp on the Yangtze itself. The master looked at him and said, "Dude, your hair got long." "Yeah," he joked, "and I got handsome too." But when they actually stood on the riverbank, seeing those churning waves and hidden whirlpools, the reality hit hard. They measured the distance, about 1 kilometer to the other side and back. They practiced speed, endurance, balance, wave fighting. Even then, everyone around started urging him to give up. "The current is too strong," they said. "If you fall in the middle, we can't save you." He trained day and night, like a man possessed. Every dawn he'd wade into the chilly water, climb onto that green bamboo, and splash eat it within 2 seconds. The master would just watch, arms crossed, shaking his head. "You're head heavy and your balance is trash," he'd say. "This is going to be a disaster." And he wasn't wrong. Standing on that pole on land was hard enough. On water, it rolled and slid like a live snake. Your toes had to curl and claw into the bamboo with every ounce of strength. 10 little fingers of your feet working overtime. One tiny shift in weight, one moment of distraction, and whoosh, you're underwater, gasping with muddy water up your nose. And that bamboo? It wasn't some smooth, polished prop. It was rough, covered with tiny splinters and razor-sharp edges. Every time he fell, which was about 100 times a day, he'd scrape his shins, his arms, his ribs. He'd bang his knees on the bamboo, then bang his head on the riverbed, then crawl back up, bleeding and bruised. His whole body turned into a patchwork of purple and blue, light one spot, dark another, as he'd joke. But every time he winced, he'd mutter to himself, "It's okay, it's okay, it's okay," and climb back on. The master watched all this and finally said, "Kid, learning Duju Piao is like learning to ride a bicycle. You don't get it by thinking, you get it by falling. You fall until you're black and blue all over, and then magically, your body just knows." So he kept falling. He fell so many times he lost count. Some days he'd show up with fresh bandages, other days he'd limp to the riverbank, but he never skipped a single session. Then, after what felt like an eternity of eating mud, something tiny shifted. He could stay on for 3 seconds, then 5, then 10. His toes were screaming, his calves were on fire, but he was standing. He'd let out a victory yell and immediately topple over. Oh no, not again. But he was getting there. He could now wobble his way across a calm patch without instantly drowning. The master would nod just a little and say, "Not terrible, but that's just standing." Now we move. Then came the real magic. One misty afternoon, they were practicing on a quiet bend of the river. Fog rolled in from the hills, making the whole world hazy and dreamlike. He stepped onto the pole, and this time, instead of fighting the water, he went with it. He started shifting his weight, turning, even hopping a tiny bit, and for a fleeting moment, he and his master weren't two guys on a river. They were characters in a kung fu fantasy, like a video game where they just unlocked the lightness skill. They were bouncing off the surface, leaping between invisible platforms, doing spins and pirouettes as if they were martial arts heroes from a wuxia novel. He could almost hear the game soundtrack in his head. Ding, achievement unlocked. In that surreal moment, he felt something he'd never experienced before. Pure, unadulterated freedom. The weight of everyday stress, the pressure of making videos, the fear of failing, all of it melted away. He wasn't just balancing on bamboo, he was flying. The river became his playground, and he was a dragonfly skimming the surface. It was like stepping into a dream where physics didn't apply, just him, the bamboo, and the endless flow of water. He laughed out loud, spun around, and even tried a clumsy one-handed handstand, which ended in another splash, but who cares? After that day, his progress skyrocketed. He could turn, jump, even run a few steps on the pole. He started adding little tricks, a hop here, a pivot there, and each success made him feel more like a real-life hero. He was proud. He looked at the river and thought, man, I've got this. I'm basically a water walking master now. Bring on the Yangtze. But when he told the master, the old man just squinted at the distant waves and snorted. Kid, you can dance on a pond. That's cute. But the Yangtze? That's a monster. Waves that'll swallow you, currents that'll rip you downstream, whirlpools you can't even see. What you've got now is a party trick. Real crossing, you're not even close. He looked at our guy's grinning face and added, we'll need special training. Speed, endurance, balance, and learning to fight the waves. And even then, maybe, you'll survive. Our guy's smile faded, but deep down he knew the master was right. Standing on a quiet lake was one thing. Crossing the roaring Yangtze was a whole different beast. And that's when he realized all those falls, all those bruises, all that fantasy freedom, they were just the warm-up. The real test was yet to come, but there was one thing: the river would only be closed to shipping for one day that year, the annual crossing event. Miss it, and he'd have to wait another 365 days. He thought about what chivalry really means, not the epic kind, saving kingdoms or fighting villains, but the quiet kind, an ordinary person pouring every ounce of their heart into something that others might call pointless. That, to him, was his own brand of heroism. So he went for it. The big day finally came, July 16th, the annual Wuhan Yangtze River Crossing Festival. For that one day, the river would be closed to shipping, giving him his only shot. Miss it, and he'd have to wait another 365 days. No do-overs, no second chances. Standing on the bank, looking at that massive brown beast of a river, his heart was pounding. The Yangtze isn't some gentle creek, it's a monster. Swirling currents, hidden whirlpools, waves that could swallow a small boat whole. He'd trained for speed, endurance, balance, wave fighting. But standing there, watching the water churn, all that training suddenly felt small. He stepped onto the bamboo. The pole dipped, wobbled, then steadied under his feet. He gripped his long bamboo garn, his only steering wheel, his only lifeline. One wrong move, one moment of lost focus, and he'd be fish food. The master gave him a nod from the support boat nearby. No words. Just that look. You got this, kid. And then he pushed off. The first few meters were terrifying. The current grabbed at his bamboo like it wanted to rip it right out from under him. His toes curled into the rough surface, gripping with everything they had, 10 little fingers working overtime, screaming at him to stay upright. The waves slapped against the pole, trying to roll it. He wobbled. He swayed. For a split second, he thought he was going down. But he didn't. He found his rhythm. Slowly, painfully, he started to move with the water instead of fighting it. The bamboo began to glide, not smoothly, not gracefully, but moving. One stroke of his gan, then another. The shore behind him got smaller. The opposite bank stayed stubbornly far away. About a kilometer to cross, maybe more with the current dragging him sideways. Halfway across, the real test came. The middle of the river was a chaos of conflicting currents. Water swirling this way and that, no clear direction, just pure raw power. His bamboo started spinning. He nearly lost it. His legs were burning, his core shaking, his mind screaming, just stay up, just stay up, just stay up. He thought about all those falls, all those bruises, all those days eating mud in that little town. He thought about the master's words, you fall until you're black and blue, and then your body just knows. And his body did know. Somehow, through sheer muscle memory, he corrected. He leaned into the spin, counterbalanced with his gan, and rode it out. The bamboo stopped spinning. He was still standing, still moving, still alive. The last stretch was pure grit. His legs were jelly. His toes were numb. Every wave felt like it was personally out to get him. But he could see the opposite bank now, close, so close. The master's boat was pacing him, and he could hear faint shouts from people gathering on the shore. Spectators, strangers, people who had no idea who he was, but who were watching this crazy guy on a bamboo pole take on the Yangtze. He paddled harder. 1 stroke, 2 strokes, 3. The bamboo surged forward. The water got shallower. The current loosened its grip, and then thump, the pole hit the bottom. He'd made it. He stepped off the bamboo onto solid ground, dripping wet, legs shaking, heart about to explode out of his chest. He turned around and looked back at the river he'd just conquered. A kilometer of raging water, 2 hours of non-stop balance and grit, and he hadn't fallen in once. Not a single splash. Dry from head to toe. The master pulled up in the support boat, jumped out, and just stared at him. For a long moment, neither of them said anything. Then the master grinned, the biggest grin our guy had ever seen on that old face, and clapped him on the shoulder. "Kid," he said, "you did it." And in that moment, standing on that riverbank, he felt it, the thing he'd been chasing all along. Not fame, not views, not proving anyone wrong. Just that quiet, deep satisfaction of doing something that most people would call impossible. Of taking an ancient art, a dying tradition, and breathing new life into it. Of being, for one shining moment, a real-life wuxia hero, not on a screen, not in a game, but right here in the real world on the roaring Yangtze. That crossing is history now. So I'm telling you this not to show off, but to ask you, what's your bamboo pole? What's that one crazy, impossible thing you secretly want to try, but you're too scared to even tell anyone about? Maybe it's not crossing a river. Maybe it's starting a business, learning an instrument, writing a book, or just getting out of bed when everything feels heavy. Whatever it is, take it from that guy on the bamboo. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to start, fall, get up, fall again. And one day you'll look back and realize you've crossed your own Yangtze.